Hey, what's going on guys, it's Arcticsoldier here, and today I want to bring you guys my personal top 5 Escape from Tarkov tips that I feel could definitely help new players in the game. Please note that any and all tips discussed in this video are subject to change. Without further ado, let's get to the video. So the first tip I wanted to talk about was offline mode. As previously mentioned, offline mode I feel is a good starting point for Tarkov players because it allows them to be able to go into an assortment of raids on multiple maps without having the frustrations of going into a live raid and having to lose their gear, not understanding the core mechanics and the controls for the game. Along with that, I feel it's definitely good for new players to be able to go in and also get some more map exploration. A lot of times people coming in don't know the extent of the size of the maps, and it's a lot to be taking in. It can kind of be overwhelming at points, but also it's really good for just being able to go in, shoot a couple of scavs, warm up, get a feel for your loadout, and then proceed to go into a live raid. The next thing I wanted to talk about was insurance returns and how I feel that that's a good tip for new players to be able to utilize, so that way they have a shot and or a chance at being able to get the gear that they lost in raid back to them within their inventory. So when insuring your gear, there's one of two ways of doing it, either through the menu or through the ready up screen. As you can see, we're in the menu here and we're able to click on whatever piece of equipment and or item you would like to insure. There's two vendors at the moment, Prepor and Therapist. Prepor has a lower insurance cost rate but a slower return time, and Therapist has a more expensive insurance rate but a faster return time on being able to retrieve gear if it's lost within raid. So now you can see, once again, we're brought back to the insurance screen before we go into raid as a PMC. Again, you will see you have your vendor options and you're still able to go ahead and select whatever items you want to be insured at that time for that raid or the lifespan of your PMC. So once you start highlighting things, you'll see it has a little bit of an orange tint. You hit insure, you'll hear a little ding, and boom, your stuff is insured for that raid. So once you do end up getting an insurance return, you will get a little message, a tan box in your notification center, where it's going to show you that you do have a message from whatever vendor you insured your gear with. So once you click on the receive all button, you will then be brought to a screen that looks something like this. So once you claim all the items that are within your showcase and drag them over to your inventory, you have then successfully claimed your insurance return and then are free to use the gear in raid once again. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Scav Runs. Scav Runs are good for new players because it allows them to take a no-risk run at either having the chance to spawn in the raid as that they died in as a PMC and have the chance of getting their loot back, or spawning into a fresh new raid and having the chance to get some fresh gear that can definitely help you as a PMC. A thing to keep in mind as a scav when playing on maps such as Woods, Customs, and Reserve, you do have a chance of spawning in as a scav with the scav boss still alive, and at that point scav boss and their henchmen will automatically try to auto-kill you to prevent you in terms of farming them and getting automatic good loot. The next thing I wanted to talk about was greed. I know as a new Escape from Tarkov player that a lot of things can be extremely overwhelming in the sense that, you know, you go off and you pop off and you get a couple of kills and you really don't know what to do. The thing you really have to be aware of is just all surroundings. You have to have really good situational awareness. You have to be able to make real-time observations as to how many enemies you were just in contact with. Are there any other strange sounds? Are there other things going about that just seem a little bit off-putting before you go and grab the loot? So once you've made really good judgmental calls to go ahead and grab the loot, the biggest thing that really gets a lot of people messed up or caught up is just spending too much time looting on the bodies. As you can see here, you know, I'm loading this body, just trying to do it real quick after I've already engaged both of the targets, making sure, you know, I take the things that are really expensive and, you know, I know that are extremely costly within the game while mitigating the amount of time I spend on the body. So the last thing I wanted to touch base on, guys, was gear fear and dying. Even as an experienced Escape from Tarkov players myself, I still find myself dying at least 45% of my raids. And the only way that I've really gotten better at the game over time is just learning from my deaths. I would go back and I would watch, you know, what I did to engage that guy. Was it a smart move? Was it a smart play? Could I have done something differently? And that's honestly how I progress in my playstyle, my tactics, and learning the game. Also, as a new player, I see a lot of people coming and asking me questions, hey, Arctic, how did you get over gear fear? How did you get used to using, the good weapons and not being afraid to die with them? The only thing that I can tell you guys is use it. Play with the weapons, play with good loadouts, and you'll start to get a feel and you'll start to get an understanding for how the mechanics of the weapons and the weight distribution for your loadout works. You'll start to get an understanding for the ADS and what kills and what doesn't kill, and that's really the only thing that you guys can do. And you just get to a point to where you lose so much you're not afraid to bring everything and anything in to get you out of rock bottom, and that's how you get over that.